The source of all creation is pure consciousness, pure potentiality seeking expression from the unmanifest to the manifest. And when we realize that our true self is one of pure potentiality, we align with the power that manifests everything in the universe. Hello, my spiritual beings, and welcome to Deeply Divine, where we dive into topics that are deeper than the eyes can see. In this 7-part series, we're going to explore the depths of the 7 spiritual laws of success. This is a book written by Deepak Chopra, and I'll be summarizing Chopra's spiritual laws of success. So if you're looking to gain insight as to how the 7 spiritual laws correlates with your specific journey, then you might want to grab a pen and paper. Find a nice comfy spot and let's talk about the first spiritual law of success, the law of pure potentiality. The law of pure potentiality is based on the fact that we are, in our essential state, pure consciousness. If you've listened to my previous podcast, which provides tips on reprogramming the subconscious mind, then you've learned that by tapping into your subconscious awareness allows you to gain access to the field of all possibilities as well as infinite creativity. This in itself is sheer bliss. Becoming the architect of your life cognitively and spiritually is like winning the lottery 10 times in a row. Our essential nature is one of pure potentiality. The field of pure potentiality is your own self. Well, what is your own self? What are you? What are we? We are energy. Our actions, our thoughts, our spirit, our emotions, all of these things represent energy, and we are the source of that energy. The law of pure potentiality is the energy within us, within you, within me. There's no separation between you and this energy because it is a part of you. Remember, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred. And so when we think of who we are as beings, we literally are a blob of energy. So how do we convert that energy, or the energy of pure potentiality? How do we convert that? Well, we have to first experience it. Consider the energy of love. We are all filled with this energy at birth. It's within us, whether you want to admit it or not. We are all just big blobs of loving beings. And at some point in our lives, someone exuded that energy towards us. And so through that experience, or through the experiences of love, we were then able to recognize that energy within ourselves. So through that experience, we became aware of that energy. And so because we were aware of the energy of love within ourselves, we were able to, or are able to, recognize it when we do receive it. I'm sure most of you can recall hearing someone say another person has potential. Oh, so and so has so much potential. Or maybe you've heard this about yourself. Essentially, what this means is that you possess the energy necessary to be exerted towards whatever it is you have the potential for. However, if you don't know yourself and you don't recognize the energy of pure potentiality within yourself, then you're going to have a hard time experiencing the energy of potential. So if you're unaware of the energy of love that also forms your true spirit, then you're going to have a hard time experiencing love. And so ultimately, you won't recognize the energy of love. If you grew up in a household that wasn't very loving, then a part of your childhood missed that experience. And so when you convert that into adulthood, and when the people around you, maybe your friends or your colleagues, are showing you love, maybe you have a hard time receiving that love because you never actually experienced it. You guys see where I'm going with this? So you have to experience energy to recognize that energy within yourself. And so if you don't experience the exchange of the energy, the exchange of love, or the exchange of potential, love will just be love, and potential will just be potential, until you recognize its presence within your own spirit, thus cultivating it and converting it, putting that energy to use. So you can be filled with love, you can be filled with all these great emotions, but if you're not converting that energy and creating an experience within that energy, then what good is that good energy? You have to put that energy to use. Think of hard work. Hard work is an energy. If you're not converting your hard work, then what good is it? Socrates said to know thyself. To truly know yourself is to know the inner workings of your spirit. In these 7 spiritual laws, Chopra mentions what is known as object referral and self-referral. In object referral, we are always influenced by the objects outside of the self, which include situations, circumstances, people, things. In object referral, we are constantly seeking the approval of others. Our thinking and behavior are always in anticipation of a response. And the best example of this, the greatest example of all time, is social media. We post on social media expecting a reaction. We want the likes, we want the comments, we want the followers. And through that, we place this value on these things on social media, the reaction that we receive on social media. But you see, to operate from a place of object referral is to operate from the ego. Social media is the breeding ground for the ego. The ego lives there. That is its home. It wants that attention. But you see, the ego is controlling. The ego is competitive and judgmental. The ego is not who you are. It's not who you truly are. It is your self-image. Who you really are stems deeper than the ego. You are your spirit. You are your soul. The ego doesn't even come close to the power of the duality of the spirit and the soul. The spirit and the soul is resilient. The spirit and the soul is unfearful. The spirit and the soul does not care about being judged or criticized. The spirit and the soul is humble and feels superior to no one, because it knows that everyone else has the same spirit in different disguises. That is the essential difference between self-referral and object referral. To operate from a place of self-referral, one must vitiate the power of the ego. You see, the ego is only as powerful as what's nurturing it. Job titles, money, attention, likes on social media. But as soon as these things dwindle, the ego loses its power. Self-power is permanent. It's unconditional because it stems from within. The love you give yourself is loyal because you know that love isn't going anywhere. You know that love isn't going to wake up one morning and decide not to give you any more of its energy. The ego plays those games, not self-power. The energy of self-power repels that of the ego. The energy of self-power draws your tribe to you, and it draws the things that you want and need closer to you. Self-power is the energy that fuels manifestation. It allows things to work in your favor. It is the support of the universe. Self-power thrives on the energy of pure potentiality. 3 tips on how to fully manifest your energy of pure potentiality are to, number 1, kill the ego. The ego represents low vibration. Anything that stems from the ego is low vibration. And to operate from a low vibration places a halt on your manifestation. And so you have to annihilate the ego, because the ego is jealous. The ego wants to compete. The ego wants to come up. The ego is not concerned about anyone else but itself. Number 2, practice silence. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." When you place yourself in a state of stillness and silence, you'll come to realize that in silence lies the voice of the universe. In stillness, the voice of the ego is silent. The 3rd and final tip on how to manifest your energy of potentiality is to spend time with yourself. The quality time you spend with yourself is the quality time you spend with your true nature. And I actually read a tweet a while back that said, how you feel about your solitude is how you feel about your own self. And it gave me goosebumps because I love spending time with myself. And to me, that was a point I realized that I've evolved so much so that I could be alone and feel so loved and feel so productive and feel so good. And so the quality time you spend with yourself is the quality time you spend with your true nature. Because when you're alone, you're you. You know, there's no filters. There's no putting up a front. And you're able to fully indulge in your own energy. Because if you're always surrounded by people, you risk diluting your own energy amongst the energy of those around you. When that happens, we block the field of creativity. By simply embracing the energy of solitude, you harness the energy of pure potentiality, the magic of your true nature.